হ্যালো গাইস, আজকে আমরা ফেরত চলে এসেছি। আজকে আমরা ফেরত চলে এসেছি খেলতে গানুসিন ইমফাক্টু। কিন্তু গাইস, আজকে আমরা আর কনকোয়েস্ট চালু করব না। আজকে আমরা চলে যাব অন্য জায়গায়। দ্যাট ইজ আওয়ার ইভেন্ট কোয়েস্ট। একটা নতুন ইভেন্ট এসছে গাইস, তো চলো লেটস বিগিন। তো গাইস, ঢুকে পড়েছি আমরা আমাদের ওয়ার্ল্ডে। আমরা রয়েছি মনস্টারে, কিন্তু আমাদের কি মনস্টারে থাকা উচিত জানি না গাইজ, দেখতে হবে। তো গাইজ, আমাদের যেতে হবে ফন্টেনে। তো গাইজ, আমাদেরকে যখন একটু নিচেই যেতে হবে, তখন একটু সাঁতার কেটেই না হয় চলে গেলাম। গাইজ, আশাগিরি দাঁড়িয়ে পড়েছে। দাদাগিরি করতে করতে আশাগিরি দাঁড়িয়ে পড়েছে। ইটস ইউ আচু নাইস। কি মনে পড়ে দাঁড়িয়ে আছে মানে গাইজ, তোমরা বুঝতেই পারছো। ও এসছে ইনাজুমা থেকে। একদম গাইজ, আমাদেরকে কিন্তু মানে আমাদের থিওরিটা কনফার্ম করে দিল যে ও ইনাজুমা থেকেই এসছে। And you even bought all your painting tools with you. একদম। Leave it to me. কিন্তু কি leave it to me guys, দেখা যাবে। The great tree and legends. তো আমাদের টার্গেট হচ্ছে ফটোগ্রাফ দ্য গ্রেট ট্রি অফ উইন্ডরাইজ। Character is using charged attack. Character wields the power of Anemo. Character is from Mondstadt. তাহলে গাইজ, আমরা চলে যাব গো টু টেক ফটোজ, ন্যাভিগেট। আর যেটা বুঝলাম গাইজ, আমাদের এখানে চেঞ্জ করতে হবে কোনো না কোনো একটা গ্যাজেট। এই ক্যামেরাটাকে চেঞ্জ করে নি গাইজ, কারণ এখন তো আমাদের অন্য ক্যামেরাই লাগবে। হ্যাশট্যাগ সুইচ। আমাদের কত দূরে গিয়ে করতে হচ্ছে গাইজ, তোমরা দেখতেই পাচ্ছ। Adjust camera settings. Prepare to take photograph. Okay, character is from Mondstadt. আমরা করে ফেলি একটু চট জলদি, খুবই তাড়াতাড়ি। সুক্রোজ আছে গাইস, আমাদের কাছে সুক্রোজ আছে। গাইস, আমরা কি এন্টার করে দেখতে পারি? জেড তিনটেই? Keep taking photos. কি করেছে গাইজ, হয়ে গেল আমি জানি না। আমাদের ফার্স্ট এডটার কাজ আই গেস হয়ে গেছে। ইভেন্ট ডিটেইলস, ফার্স্ট এডটার আমরা করে নেব ক্লেম রিওয়ার্ডস। এরকম ভাবে গাইজ 30টা প্রিমো জেম দিতে থাকুক, আমার খুবই ভালো লাগে। তাও ভালো গাইজ, এখানে একটা ইয়ে ছিল, কি বলে, চলো গাইজ এন্টার ক্যামেরা সেটিংস, ক্যারেক্টার্স আরকে ইজ নিউমা। ওয়াটারটা গাইজ করতে পারবো, আমাদের কাছে আছে ফরিনা।
I knew you'd miss me.
ক্যারেক্টার্স আরকে ইজ নিউমা, এইটা গাইজ জানি না, বাট অপশনাল ছিল, সো চাপ নেই। Claim rewards. Unlocks after 2 days, 2 hours. Unlocks after 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day and 5 day. So guys, এইটা আমাদের কনস্ট্যান্ট একটা ইভেন্ট টাইপের চলবে 5 দিন ধরে, যেটার মধ্যে আমরা আজকে 60টা প্রিমো জেম কালেক্ট করে ফেলেছি। অ্যাবান্ডন চ্যালেঞ্জ করে দেবো, কারণ আমাদের চ্যালেঞ্জ কমপ্লিট হয়ে গেছে। একবার দেখবো, একদম গাইজ 172 প্রিমো জেমস হয়ে গেছে আমাদের কাছে। ইমিডিয়েটলি আমাদের একটা ইন্টারটুয়াইন ফিট কিনে রাখতেই হবে। তো গাইজ 35 জমিয়েছি এখনো অবধি, কিন্তু গাইজ ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে 60-50 মানে 50 বা 60তে পুরো জমবে না, আমাদেরকে খাটতে থাকতে হবে যতক্ষণ না আমরা 100-র উপরে করতে পারছি গাইজ। লোকে 180 বিশেষেও C3 নিয়েই বসে থাকে, আর উই হ্যাভ হাই হোপস যে আমরা একটু ভালোভাবে খেলবো অ্যান্ড আমরা লেগে পড়বো আমাদের কাজে। তো গাইজ আমরা রিজিউম করে ফেলবো আমাদের আর্কন কোয়েস্ট দ্য ট্রুথ। আমাদেরকে ঢুকে পড়তে হবে অনেকটা ভেতরে। টক টু মেলুস অন দ্য শিপ। তো গাইস আমরা কি জলটার ভেতরে ঢুকতে পারি? ইয়েস গাইস, আমরা জলের ভেতরে ঢুকতে পারবো, অ্যান্ড হাইড্রোকিউলাস আমরা কোনোভাবেই বাকি রাখবো না। কাবা। তো গাইস একদম একটা আন্ডারগ্রাউন্ড সিভিলাইজেশন টাইপের মনে হচ্ছে এটাকে দেখে, কিন্তু গাইস আন্ডারওয়ার্ল্ড সিভিলাইজেশন বলে ভেবো না, এরা ক্রাইমের সাথে যুক্ত। স্পিনাডি রসুলা একটু মাফিয়া ফ্যামিলির মতন ব্যবহার করলেও মোটেও তারা মাফিয়া নয়। তো মেলুস ভাই তুমি কোথায়? একটু আমাকেও হদিশ দাও। মেলুস তো গাইস এখানেই দাঁড়িয়ে আছে, কিন্তু আমরা যদি আরেকটু উপর দিকে যাই, ইয়েস গাইস আমরা দেখতে পেয়ে গেছি আরো একটা হাইড্রোকিউলাস। আমরা কি এটা দিয়ে উঠতে পারবো হাইড্রোকিউলাসের কাছে? চলো গাইস এইবারে অনেক ঘুরে বেরিয়েছি, আমরা চলে যাব মেলুসের কাছে। মেলুস ভাই তোমার কি খবর?
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the...
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, you still remember, right, Melus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could the mastermind be the same?
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened? Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Malkawa.
Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Very diluted. Last video তে guys তোমাদের মনে থাকবে very diluted হলে তবেই।
If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety. Well, as he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. But not only that, the boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation.
Yes, but recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. We planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground. Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side? Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Bob. I think this
Third
person
person
is
is
probably
the
the key
key.
to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our... There is no need to follow you.
If that's indeed what he wished for, was I not the closest person to him? What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he make Synth is still here. Pallas the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that, ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
তো গাইস খুবই ইমোশনাল স্টোরি দিয়ে মাভিয়া দ্য নাভিয়া দ্য মাফিয়া
Before that banquet,
আমাদেরকে
Boss already knew of the connection
motivate
between
করলো।
Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
কি করে জানলি?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live, and the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict, but once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina de Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss.
তো এটাই
Him
হচ্ছে
dying
গাইস
in a
আসল
duel
কথা।
and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
তাহলে গাইস আমরাই বাওয়াল দিয়ে দিতাম, এটাই হচ্ছে কথা।
I suppose that's true. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. Melus, what was the key evidence that he shared?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially,
Is the enemy's
it's the enemy's
headquarters?
headquarters. When he was
তাহলে
threatening
চলো
the
গাইস
enemy, Boss
enemy
didn't
base
share
infiltration
specifics
শুরু
of the
হবে।
incriminating intelligence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy,
Why? If we know where the plate...
you mustn't forget that we're fighting there's no telling what might, but a single the worst case would be that we leave empty-handed. But also open up...
Then, in that...
Well, you saw one of them
That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Melus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Melus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula. But when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to the first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Florent.
Huh? Florent.
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around with a lot of...
So, they're like a sister organization?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down them.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local... Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically...
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most.
তাহলে গাইস নাভিয়া দ্য মাফিয়া কি করবে?
If you want to
গুলি করে দেবে
investigate,
নাকি?
please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy...
Of course.
You're too And before I forget, proving bosses after that, and if it might help you...
Aw, thank you so much!
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we
তো
can...
চলো গাইস আমাদের ক্যালাস কেস রেকর্ডস আমরা পেয়ে গেলাম, কিন্তু এনিমি বস ইনফিল্ট্রেশন করতে কি আমাদের যেতে হবে? আমি তো চাই। ক্যামেরার আইকনটা গেল না কেন গাইস? আমাদের তো কাজ হয়ে গেছে ওখানে। The truth lost with the rain.
It is settled then. Please excuse me and enjoy...
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Melus.
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
অনেক কিছু।
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened,
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be genuine.
but Aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought more of. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so...
They found out about his
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is...
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? If he did the right, Papa always wanted to be a good man. So
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was
গাইস
a good man.
কেসটা কিন্তু ঘুরে যাচ্ছে বাজে রকম 360 ডিগ্রি
Papa
ঘুরে
was
গেছে
a
গাইস
really good man.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons. Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh,
Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think that's the first...
তাহলে গাইস টেস্টিমনি ফ্রম জ্যাকস ফ্যামিলি আমরা পেয়েছি এবারে আমরা যাব লরেন্টের কাছে
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
লরেন্টের নাতে তুই কি করেছিস
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance to...
I'm sure you've heard about
Yeah, I've heard.
it also. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I think, can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was... After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other, not knowing what to say.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that. Reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there who was turned in?
At least from our perspective,
এটা
my
হতে
father
পারে
had no
guys
reason to kill, so he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys? But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth? He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, I'll tell you everything once.
I understand. Then I'll leave Miss. And if I may just say one more thing, the whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since the day it was invented. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus, even after so many years have passed. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di no matter what others might say. He'll always be the man I respect the most. And he'll always be my boss.
Don't worry.
কিন্তু গাইস একটু বেশি আলাদা গদগদ হয়ে থাকছে
Deserve to know the truth as well.
সো আমার প্রাইম সাসপেক্ট এই থাকবে তো সিটি অফ ফন্টেনে আমরা ফার্স্টে কার কাছে যাব থিওরির কাছে
Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at...
Oh, so you've come.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is Callus to defend. It would be next to him. Anyway.
Ah, yes. What happened at the Opera House?
Ah, if you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
So guys, Navia the Mafia
I have another question.
অনেক কিছু
Do you have
অ্যাক্সেস
the authority to
পাচ্ছে
dispatch Gardamex?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own.
হ্যাঁ বস
Why do
শুনতে
you
পাচ্ছি
ask?
কিন্তু খুবই আস্তে
We definitely
তুমি
can't
বলো
use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from... If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it so I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Jokes aside, I'll be staying in the city.
সুমন
for a little
ব্যাপারটা
while,
হচ্ছে
so
আমাদের
just come
কাছে
find me if you need any
নাভিয়া
support
দ্য
from
মাফিয়া
guards.
কোর্ট কেস নিয়ে এসে লড়ার জন্য এইখানে ভাই লয়ার আমি কারণ এর দুনিয়াটা আমার গেনশিনের দুনিয়াটা বস আমার
তুই ভিকটিম, তুই কালপ্রিট, তুই জাজ, তুই লয়ার।
আমি জুরি আমি
সব
এক্সিকিউশনার
কিছু না, জুরি আর ইন্ডিয়ান এতে নেই।
এক্সিকিউশনার জাজ জুরি এক্সিকিউশন
Hello, how may I help you? I'm here to see Mars. Sure, I will let him know.
আমি
then.
মেইনলি এক্সিকিউশনার
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as...
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House.
Yes, I've...
Oh, you were at the
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro
Sleuthing
Archon
work.
at her own
Sleuth
game on
থেকে
her own
মনে পড়লো
turf.
guys,
I can already
একটা
imagine
খুব ভালো
everyone
গেম
in
ছিল একটা
Fontaine
টাইমে,
discussing your
যেটা
exploits
হচ্ছে
over a few
ডিজিমন
glasses of
সাইবার
wine.
স্লুথ।
Oh,
খুব পুরনো
Fleuve
গেম
doesn't
কিন্তু
wanna
খুবই
become a
ভালো
top
গেম।
of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating now?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof.
Oh, and what makes you...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected us?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabriere will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to...
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Do you
তো
have
গাইস
any new
লোহা
thoughts
যখন
on my
গরম
father's
থাকে
case?
মাভিয়া বলছি, নাভিয়া দ্য মাফিয়া,
About that. Sorry. My age is
Navia, the
catching up with
Mafia,
me, so it'll take me a while
আয়রনটাতেই
to recall
বাড়ি
my
মারে।
memory.
অ্যানালজি দিতে গিয়ে
The
আমি
Confrérie was
এই
responsible
ফ্রেজটাই
for
ভুল
that
করে
night.
ফেলছি গাইস।
So I was out and about the whole time
অবস্থা
making sure
খারাপ
things
আছে।
were running smooth. Then I heard the sound of a...
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if...
Sounds good. Just let me... All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
তো গাইস আমাদের কাছে একটা মানি ব্যাগ পাওয়া গেছে। মানি ব্যাগ মানে স্পন্সরের কথা বলছি গাইস, অন্য কিছু ভেবো না। আর হ্যাঁ, সেটা আমি নই।
We've talked to all three suspects. Purely but...
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right. Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with a gun because of circumstance.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Oh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a
তো
tool.
গাইস এইটা একটা ব্যাপার যে
What would make more sense from his
পার্সপেক্টিভ খুঁজতে গিয়ে
Makes sense.
বাওয়াল
Without
হচ্ছে
evidence,
আমাদের।
that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack
থিওরির
was
নামে গাইস
obvious.
প্র্যাকটিক্যাল ইনফরমেশন আমাদের কাছে
Even
কিন্তু
then,
কম্পাইলেশনে
they followed
প্রবলেম
this lead to
আসছে।
the end?
Given everything that's happened since, but who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex?
মার্সেল,
Marcel? And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also... Still really hard for me to imagine, though. And also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of Mora and energy to fight his own synth business?
তাহলে গাইস ফ্লোরেন্স,
Flora? It is true that he was... But as Spina di Rosula's advisor...
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole...
তাহলে
theory, you say?
থিওরি
But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find.
Who could it be?
আমি ভাই আমি Who could it be and নাতি
You know,
তাহলে
if you think
গাইস
everything
কাট
through,
সিন কিন্তু
Uncle Marcel
ট্রিগার
is
হলো ফাইনালি
The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Melus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other options right now.
এটাই শুনতে চাইছিলাম বস
We need
এটাই
far
শুনতে
more solid
চাইছিলাম
proof before we
তো গাইস আমরা
Here
এখন
you are.
মাফিয়া বস
Oh,
হয়ে
I've
এগিয়ে
been
পড়বো
looking for you.
প্রোডাকশন হাউসে
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guard?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this one?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
ফাটুই হারবিঞ্জার টার্টাগলিয়া মানে
What?
চাইল্ড
Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we
একদম
know him.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with.
That's what I thought was strange about it. So, if the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible.
Right. Because
Yeah. And it'll be a lot harder.
I understand. Huh?
চলো গাইস আমাদেরকে মনে
What do you
হয়
mean?
ইনভেস্টিগেট দ্যাট প্লেস
Just
থ্যাংক
as
ইউ
it,
থ্যাংক ইউ
since this is a trial.
প্রোডাকশন
you're
বেস
right.
ইনফিলট্রেট
This is
করাটা
our
আমার
best
স্পেশালিটি
opportunity. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Melus, Silver.
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured it's our hope.
Thank you.
See you then.
সাসপেক্ট অ্যানালিসিসের ডেটা নিয়ে আমরা চলে যাব হ্যাশট্যাগ
Now that
কোথাও
Navia
একটা
has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going.
go to the place
location is already-
Melus mentioned 34 দেখাচ্ছে ওয়েস্ট এরিয়া রিচ
According to Melus's info,
তো গাইস এটা আন্ডারগ্রাউন্ড
let's go and try to find the entrance.
গাইস এটা নট অনলি আন্ডারগ্রাউন্ড এটা আন্ডার ওয়াটারও তো এই স্মেন্ড্রেক মালটাকে মারতে গিয়ে আমাদের হয়ে গেছে হ্যাশট্যাগ হনু find the entrance to the headquarters এখানেও কোথাও একটা হাইড্রোকিউলাস আছে গাইস আমাদের হ্যাশট্যাগ চোখের সামনে আরে ভাই কাট সিন কেন রোল
Finally,
করালি
found it. Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production bay. Ah, your Navia's probably...
Meanwhile, inside Opera Epicles.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've... However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. Is that right? In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight. I've gotta admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't...
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is...
That case had nothing to do with him. You've got the wrong man.
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics?
Oh, guys. Hydro Archon ke chaton dicche Navia ekhon.
I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind this. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default.
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway, so I'll take you up on that offer. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is...
কে ছিল
Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Huh? What Confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they speed...
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation. No?
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago. To the case only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we...
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
তো গাইস হাইড্রা আর কোনো ইয়ে
I
হচ্ছে
must
না
refresh
হাইড্রা আর
everyone's
কোনো
memory
গাইস
about
পাত্তা
that
দিচ্ছে না এখন আর
case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, Callis was defeated by champion duelist Clorinde in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries.
তো গাইস এইবারে আমাদেরকে রিফিউট করতে হবে এই চার্জেসটা
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, in truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn after that. The true culprit turned the third person.
Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea.
ওকে গাইস রিফিউট করা শুরু হবে এবারে এটাকে রিফিউট ক্যান্সেল এটা
The
হয়েছে
testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts. However, it unfortunately...
Identifying loopholes, Callus's case
This
record.
assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead.
Reconstruction of events. First shot might have missed, while the second might have taken. এটা দিয়ে রিফিউট হবে না Primordial Sea.
A pile of clothing was found at the scene. But now, since it was
তো এই সাকসেসফুল
realizing
রিফিউট
this,
হয়ে
the
গেছে
true
আমাদের
culprit
এন্ডে
caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? 1. Do you have the evidence to back up your claim?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home.
I may not have the evidence with me, but I
Okay,
know we should be
Navia
able to find a match.
হচ্ছে
Considering the
we
serial
should be able
disappearances
to-
case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from...
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Unraveled, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like for
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing.
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the Then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved.
I've thought about this too. And the answer is actually the dissolving power of water from the primordial sea.
It's the
It's an
important
important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on—
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. Of course, the guards might eventually
তো
figure out
গাইস
the truth
কাটসিনই হোক
and
আমরা
determine that
কিন্তু
we were in the right.
একদম ক্রিম ইনফরমেশন
What would
এক্সট্রাক্ট
that
করতে
do?
পারছি
How
এই
can a
কেসের
hollow
হিয়ারিং
verdict
থেকে
protect anyone? Had this opera happened, but by staying silent, I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, and once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will—
So, you mean to say, your father—
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to act. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clorinde, you should tell us the truth about his—
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives in my line of work. I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's—
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of time. In my father's case,
তো
the
এখানে
culprit
গাইস
intended to kill both Jacques
both
and
Jack
Callus.
and Callus
As a
কিন্তু
result, they planned to act after hearing two
third person
gun hands.
কে
At the end of Lenny's trial, the culprit
third
also
person কে
only dissolved the
ultimately
victim
তাকে
in front
ডিসলভই
of
করতে
everyone
হলো as a
because they realized they were at
time
risk of
bomb
being
of
identified.
primordial
The
sea water.
culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they— Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyway.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to
Snezhnaya?
Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, Demoiselle. This was—
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial disappearance? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first— Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your—
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you
কিন্তু
learn to be
গাইস
more
আমরা মনে
considerate of
হচ্ছে
others'
ভুল
feelings
পাবলিক ধরে
and to stop
ফেলেছি
rushing
যার
headlong
জন্য
into things. You have
আমাদের
met most
উপরেই
of his
কেস
expectations.
লাগবে।
This isn't just about me. And the biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. The people whose many
হনু হয়ে
people's
গেছে
images
কাকা, হনু
are
হয়ে গেছে।
flashing before. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher?
Huh.
Oh.
Oh.
So you do know that name.
Guys,
I've
ভাষের
been a surprise.
নাম
You'd
ড্রপ
suddenly say the
করায়।
name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
গাইস ভাষের নাম পাওয়া গেছে। গাইস আমি একটুখানি ব্যাক করতে পারবো না কপালটাই খারাপ গাইস। একটুখানি ব্যাক করলে আমরা নিতে পারতাম একটা জিনিস। আমাদের ওই হাইড্রোকিউলাসটা গাইস একটুখানির জন্য মিস হয়ে গেল। এইটা কি ডোর অফ রেজারেকশন পার্টি সেটআপ। ওকে আমাদের পার্টি সেটআপের এক্ষুনি দরকার নেই।
Boba, get them!
With the wind! Wind blade!
You can't run.
কারণ গাইস পার্টি সেটআপ আমাদের সব সময় থাকে। এটা কি করবে? কিছু ব্লক আছে।
Whoa! The floor is going up!
Floor going up,
Is it because of this
particularly.
mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place.
At least guys, চেষ্টা তো আমাকে ক্লেম করতেই হবে। লিফটটা গাইস নেমে গেছে, আমাদের কপালটা খারাপ হয়ে গেছে।
Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up.
So guys, as light falls without reason, আমরা লাস্ট পার্টে এন্টার করে ফেলেছি when all returns to the waters. সো লাস্ট পার্টের মধ্যেই আমাদের লুকিয়ে আছে অনেক কিছু। এটা দিয়ে গাইস আমরা ভেঙে ফেলবো। স্টার্ট। এটা কিছু করবে? ওকে গাইস, ওয়াটার লেভেলটা বাড়িয়ে দিচ্ছে যাতে আমরা সাঁতার কেটে চলে যেতে পারি। আর একটু আই গেস বাড়াতে হতো।
The water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
আরো একটা হবে গাইস, আরো একটা ট্রিগার থাকতে হবে।
Power that ended height.
Out of the frying pan, into the pot.
Shiver. You can't run. Judgment.
গাইস ধুম ধুম করে মারতে মারতে আমরা এদেরকে হনু করে দেব। আর কত আসবে ভাই?
Nice and spicy.
তো গাইস ওভারলোড করে করে এই আমরা এদেরকে মেরে দেবো কিন্তু একটা জিনিস গাইস মেকাতে ভর্তি
Out of the frying pan.
তো 2 রাউন্ড পেদাপেদি করার পরে আমাদের কিন্তু দুটো চেস্টই আনলক হয়েছে এটাকে স্টার্ট করে দেবো তাহলে ওয়াটার লেভেলটা আরো ইনক্রিজ হবে আমরা পেয়ে যাব একটা ডাইরেক্ট লিংক
Now the path is clear. Let's go.
গাইস বাই এনি চান্স কি আমাদের উপরে যেতে হবে না নিচে যেতে হবে তো আমরা হিডেন প্লেসেস একে একে ট্রাভার্স করতেই থাকছি গার্ড অনেক দাঁড়িয়ে আছে গাইস ভরে ভরে দুটো লেভেল 92 এর গার্ড অনেক
Get them. Eat this.
To ashes! Huh, you can't run! Lights out.
Windblade, disappear!
Yeah.
Nice and spicy.
এদেরকে গাইস আমরা বাজে পেদাবো
Eyes on me! Judgment! Huh.
আনলক হয়ে গেছে গাইস ও সাইড এ ভাই পড়ে যাস না আলাদাই দাবি গাইস সাইড দেখলেই ঝাপাতে ইচ্ছা করে এদের
আবার
ভাই কানা কুঞ্চি দেখতে না দেখতেই ঝাপানো শুরু আলাদাই দাবি
After all that, we finally made it to the innermost sanctum. Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right.
Look for clues in the area. Examine bookshelf.
Let's see what's written. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an event. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have the old dog's a real man. He can act whenever. I concur. Let's send someone. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups.
ইনভেস্টিগেশন রিপোর্ট পেয়ে গেছি গাইস আর কিছু মিসলেনিয়াস অবজেক্টস আমরা কিছু পাবো
Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box.
Makeup box? Seriously?
Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are huh? You mean the girls from the
Oh, maybe,
they
maybe,
were turned
maybe.
into water, and all the boxes of things, these names.
এটা guys definitely synth.
There's so much synth here, and so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters. mixing in progress. Whoa, there's even fruit flavored synth.
তুই খাবি পাইমন ফ্রুট ফ্লেভার সিন্থ হলে কি হয়েছে তুই খাবি আচ্ছা আর কি আছে examine pool
Oh, look! There's an important looking basin over here, and it's full of water. That means this is where they make all the synth. If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth. But the Paimon will take notes of
primordial sea water pool আর কিছু experimental table
What's this over here? Looks like some experiment. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22. Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. How can someone write something that terrible and you read the rest? Paimon's too scared to keep going.
তো গাইস পাইমনের অবস্থা টাইট হয়ে গেছে এত কিছু দেখে
Did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it? No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want... In any case...
গাইস এখানেই আমাদের ফুল রেকর্ড পেয়ে যাওয়া উচিত
here, and it seems like our theories were spot on. Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals. No wonder even Unraveled wasn't able that way. Even if we bring all this back, sure thing.
look for clues for Vache আমাদের কি এপারে যেতে দেবে সব গাইস আমাদের কিন্তু nothing else বুক শেলফে কিছু আরো কোথাও কিছু থাকতেই হবে গাইস এখানে আবার একটা কাটসিন রোল হয়ে গেল
Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either.
খেয়ে নিস না আবার পাইমন এটা প্রাইমোডিয়াল সি ওয়াটারের স্ন্যাক্স একদম একদম নিবি না
Vinier.
Oh,
Isn't it Vache's lovers?
বল
ভাই আমি ঘুমিয়ে পড়ছি বসে থাকতে থাকতে আমি ঘুমোতে গেলাম ভাই
So
ওকে
many.
বই
A whole page's worth. The final
Good
name
night.
sheet
চলো গুড নাইট
Marcel.
গুড নাইট
Wait, but Marcel's pretty old.
Has
Has this
this
case been going on for so long that he's Vache and Vinier's grown son?
I have figured it out. Let's go Paimon. Guys, আমরা রাশিয়ান করছি ওপেরা এপিক রেসে
And whose image do you see? Is it a man named... Oh, so you...
I'm merely surprised.
I was waiting...
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my part...
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
তো গাইস নিউমিলেট এবার সিরিয়াসলি পাগল হয়ে যাবে
Confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
Select.
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vache.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair, and we already... After your lover, Vinier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you. You even created Marcel as a new identity, and destroyed all records of of your past as Vache.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, you fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations for his daughter.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise...
Do you really pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known no one helped me? No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage, they said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vignère's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, you only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house to pursue your so-called justice, your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye to the suffering of the Vignère is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes, but I'm not from this blasted place.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go! I can't follow! So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus still got the better of me.
তো মানে গাইস মার্সেলই হচ্ছে আসল ভিলেন আমাদের চ্যাপ্টার 4 অ্যাক্ট 2 এ
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Novelate guys একদম পয়েন্ট অফ sanity insanity নয় গাইস Novelate হচ্ছে একদম পয়েন্ট অফ sanity কখন কোন অ্যাকশনটা করতে হবে উইদাউট কনসিডারিং এনিবডিজ ফিলিং ও কিন্তু মিস করবে না কখনোই
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vache and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vignère. During an underwater expedition, Vignère accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vache. Vache learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vignère back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vache discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vache decided to assassinate their president Callus at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vache expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vache attempted to frame Lennék as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Lennék failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vache's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the truth revealed to all. The oratrice will now deliver the final...
Oratrice Genalis. আরে গাইস পুরোটা কেন জানি না মনেই থাকে না কিছুতে।
According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Mr. Vacher
Oratrice
is guilty.
Mécanique d'analyse cardinale.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances case.
We really just witnessed history. Who would have...
Yippee! We help Nav! He's hurt so many innocent people, huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolute.
The day our late boss had all.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Papa? Speak.
Well, now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama?
Villain
The
was-
villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to.
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now?
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Hydro Dragon Nuvilate কাউকে ছাড়বে না।
Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for side characters like me to exit stage left?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right? Let's just get this over with.
Through evidence presented in the public, the guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is in it. We now turn to the oratrice mécanique. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique guilty.
Guilty? Guys.
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The oratrice...
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in—
The judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, please take the suspect.
Hey, bhai. Duel, please.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
Oh ho 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 guys.
He's activating his spell legacy!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Guys, new village. Oh. अच्छा. New village केटे जाएने की, but new village is the damn.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, the oratrice's judgment is the final verdict of the court. All I do is follow court procedure. As for why the oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
If the Chief Justice doesn't know, who does?
I don't know what happened there. What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible. Didn't she create the Aura?
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called...
My dearest citizen, don't tell me. You thought even I had been But
the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had...
However, given the state of things, I shall give you. And, of course, for every performance, there is a script. And if you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension, and all shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my... Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end. As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
আরে হাইড্রো ড্রাগন নিউভিলেট তুমি পেদিও দিলে তুমি কি জানো তুমি কি করলে
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the... However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
All right. Even though after all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known.
When all returns to water. তো নিউ ভিলেটকে এখানেই বসিয়ে রেখে মানে দাঁড় করিয়ে রেখে আমরা বেরিয়ে পড়বো ওপেরা হাউসের থেকে
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
মার্সেল আবার এ ভাই তুই রেস্টুরেন্ট ছাড়া কি করে ঘুরছিস ভাই
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list.
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vache? I erased all records of that name.
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all along. Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last...
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only...
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual need? Very well. I will grant...
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not...
In that case, I...
Thank you.
হাইড্রো ড্রাগন যখন গাইস দেয় মানে সিকিউরিটি গ্যারান্টি করে তখন কোনো কথা বলতে নেই কারণ চাইল্ডের ট্রান্সফরমেশনের মাঝখানে নিউভিলেট গিয়ে এক থাবড়া মেরে চাইল্ডকে ইনক্যাপাসিটেট করে ফেলেছিল
Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even...
Vache!
Ah!
Yes, that's it! So you heard it...
Vignier, it's me!
Vache?
I'm here! Where are you, Vignier? I'm coming for you. I'm finally here for you.
Hey, wait! Be careful!
ওকে ডিসলভ হতে
Is
পারবে?
that you? It's me, Vache! Vignier!
Vache, why did you come? Didn't I say? You look a lot older than I remember.
It's been more than 20 years. All this time. Only the thought of bringing you back. I must be dreaming. Vignier, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vache, if you had...
What are you
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier attorney one day.
Aye?
If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts, and my works would have been displayed in the Palais Mermonia itself. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old and died alone, with nothing but the tears on her cheeks. It's all because of your selfishness, Vache.
Wait, you are not Vignier.
You're right. I am not Vignier. I am the sacrifice. Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals. But we became one. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. The only one I am not is Vignier.
Why? But then...
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every time... This is what you get for your selfishness. But did you ever consider whether she'd want... You are a liar. The only thing you are not is Vignier's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vignier's, she has had nothing but pure hate.
No! Vignier! She can't...
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vignier. She really doesn't want... But on top of that, she also said that because... She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you. Vache. 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 Drown.
Appear to have lost his soul. Several days later.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
Huh. Well met, partner. I knew
Even this weather.
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia!
Navia the Mafia.
Paimon's already started to miss.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring home the bacon.
Sounds like you're really enjoying life these days.
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between everyone from Spina di Rose this time.
So his name's definitely been cleared.
It's been the dearest wish of Demoiselle all along.
That blasted stubborn fool. Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say...
Huh? So you know Charlotte too? The Charlotte? Journalist from the Steambird?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula, I believe the story was called The True Heart of Darkness, Secret Tales of the Yellow... To be fair, though, she was trying to...
Oh, yeah. She told us...
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both...
Now that's another thing to...
Oh, and in other news, I also took.
Oh, are you two on better terms?
While you were investigating Vashey's headquarters, Clorinde gave test. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide.
Oh, that's great. Paimon also thought Clorinde wasn't actually a bad person. It's always good to have more.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public conscious. Oh, actually, there's still one last thing I need to do.
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave. And on top of that,
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want a good
চলো গাইস চলো আমরাও সঙ্গে চলে যাই
And in that case,
yeah, you're.
কিছুতেই গাইস কাট সিন গুলো থামছেই না
This is where my father's grave is.
Huh? There's someone there already. Isn't that Nervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? No.
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to...
Don't say...
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to... I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still...
In that case...
You really could use some pointers on understanding human emotions, Monsieur Nervalette. In any case... What...
Well, ever since that day, I've been... There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing, should have been nothing. But Mr. Callis proved me utterly, if not for his sacrifice. Mr. Callis made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associate, and in the end, from a certain justice that's higher than life. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callis in person. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the opera Epicles indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your...
So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside, huh? That reminds me of...
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say
no
you don't
relate.
need to apologize?
শুধু স্ট্রং নয় শুধু প্রিমোজেমি এনে দেয় নয়
Their piece as well. Let's not discuss
হাইড্রো
them for
ড্রাগন
now.
হয়েও
We can wait till
হিউম্যান
after they're
ইমোশনস
done.
রাখে
Paimon's never paid respects at someone. Huh? Oh, Paimon didn't know. Oh no. Paimon. Oh. Anyway, Nervalette is still standing around there.
টক টু নিউ ভিলেজ কোথায় আছে পোলা
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to come pay your respects to her father?
We ran into Navia on the streets today, so we just followed her here.
I see. Then is there something that I can help you with?
হ্যাঁ ভাই চাইল্ডকে ছেড়ে দে ভাই
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure to return the favor.
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the primordial sea.
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vashey and his ilk only learned of its nature and existence. There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of the sea we know today. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of the life.
So it really was where everything began. It makes sense to call it primordial then.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists. What Vashey discovered must have been some kind of special case, or a...
So that...
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour life To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. Is there anything else you'd like?
হ্যাঁ ভাই, the
That the
prophecy.
sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good. Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's
একদম ভাই।
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world before she passed.
a prophecy of the former Hydro Archon?
Two parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. We should be more vigilant and Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information and intelligence from across Tevat for this purpose. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina by her predecessor.
But with Farina being the way she is, can we really trust her to solve?
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
Yes. চাইল্ডকে
My
ছেড়ে দে ভাই।
apologies. My investigation has However, I still believe the judgment of the Oratrice was not.
But you also said
For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated into it. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
তাহলে চাইল্ডকে ছেড়ে দে ভাই।
he told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the orator.
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. I will add that to the list of items to. In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a methodology all its own. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. While we do intend to get if we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like?
হ্যাঁ ভাই, last
Your
thing
sibling.
about my sibling.
Another blonde-haired traveler. If she ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure she followed our laws to the letter and had no reason to appear on the stage. Is there anything else you'd?
No ভাই, thank
Very
you.
well. It was my honor to provide you. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind and return.
You really are super busy, Monsieur.
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must.
All right. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
Rain has stopped. পাইমন ঠিক ধরেছো। আর এটার সাথে আমাদের চ্যাপ্টার 4 অ্যাক্ট 2 complete, guys.
For a while now. Why don't we go back to the Spina di Rosula base in the court of Fontaine and have a rest? Navia said something about having a place ready for us there, didn't she? Come on,
গাইস,
let's
জাস্ট
go.
একটা জিনিস আমরা চেক করে নেব, সেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের কোয়েস্ট লিস্ট। ফার্স্ট হচ্ছে স্টিমবার্ডস ইন্টারভিউ, সেকেন্ড হচ্ছে অ্যানাদার হরাইজন অফ অ্যাডভেঞ্চার, আর একটা হচ্ছে দ্য টি পার্টি মোস্ট থর্নি। স্টোরি কোয়েস্টেও গাইস কারুর না কারুর স্টোরি আনলক হয়ে যাবে। লিনি স্টোরি আনলক হয়ে গেছে গাইস, সো আমরা আনলক করে রাখবো। নিউ ভিলেট হবে চ্যাপ্টার 4 এর পরে, রায়োথেসলে হবে চ্যাপ্টার 4 এ, চ্যাপ্টার 5 এর পরে আনলক হবে ফরিনা অ্যান্ড নাভিয়া অ্যান্ড চিওরি। কিন্তু গাইস আর্লেকিনো 5 এই হচ্ছে। সাইনো তো গাইস আমি সাইনোর ফার্স্টটা করলেই আনলক হয়ে যাবে। আর ক্লোরেন্ট হচ্ছে অ্যানিমোলা চোরাগি, দ্যাট ইজ ফুরিনা's স্টোরি কোয়েস্ট। তো গাইস জাস্ট আরও একটা জিনিস আমরা চেক করে নেব, কিন্তু সব থেকে মেইন জিনিস গাইস আমাদের এই 115-র হিসাব করতে হবে। কিছু নয় গাইজ, উই হ্যাভ বিন ভেরি বিট। আজকে আর কিছু করার সেরকম নেই। আর সত্যি কথা বলবো গাইজ, টাইম নেই। সো আমরা কনডেন্স রেজিন বানিয়ে এটাকে রেখে দিলাম ফর আ রেইনি ডে। আর আমাদের অলরেডি ব্যাটল পাস লেভেল 20 হয়ে গেছে, এটাকেও রেখে দেবো। আর আমরা আর্কন কোয়েস্টের চ্যাপ্টার কমপ্লিট করার প্রিমোজেম, দ্য সুইট সুইট প্রিমোজেম ক্লেম করে নেব। আরো কিছু প্রিমোজেম পাবো গাইস, যেটা হচ্ছে অ্যাচিভমেন্টস থেকে। গাইস আমরা 4টে অ্যাচিভমেন্ট আনলক করতে পেরেছি। হিয়ার দ্য ওশান ইটস কল, তারপর ওয়ান্স আপন এ টাইম ইন ফ্লুভে কাদ্রাই, তারপর ট্র্যাজেডি রিপিটস ইটসেলফ, তারপরে কমপ্লিট অ্যাজ লাইট রেইন ফলস উইদাউট রিজন। আমাদের চ্যাপ্টার কনক্লুশনের অ্যাচিভমেন্ট একবার চেক করে নেবো গাইজ। আমাদের অ্যাচিভমেন্ট এক্ষুনি টোটাল 81। সো এক্ষুনি গাইজ আমরা কিছু ক্লেম করতে পারবো না। আর গাইজ আমরা রাখবো আজকে এটুকুই। আর্কন কোয়েস্ট চ্যাপ্টার 4 অ্যাক্ট 2 তোমাদের কেমন লাগলো গাইজ কমেন্ট করে জানিও। একটা ভালো লেগে থাকলে, মানে চ্যাপ্টারটা ভালো লেগে থাকলে, আর নাভিয়া দ্য মাফিয়ার কাণ্ড কারখানা দেখতে তোমাদের ভালো লেগে থাকলে লাইক করে দিও গাইজ। আর নেক্সট চ্যাপ্টারের জন্য সাবস্ক্রাইব করতে ভুলো না, কারণ আমরা কনস্ট্যান্টলি এই স্টোরি আনতে থাকছি। সো বাই ফর টুডে গাইজ, বাই।